But I'm happy to dive in with one of the questions that
go right ahead, Tim.
Yeah, Danam and I discussed, which was really interesting. Thank you, Rana. It was a really interesting presentation. One of the questions was about who are the, once the self-work is done, and I know Ziad had a question about that specifically, but once the young people are engaging in dialogue with other people, who are those other people? Where do they come from? Why do they come? Probably more importantly, what's their motivation for coming into those dialogues with the young people, those young facilitators?
Okay, so I can just say it briefly because we have a regular call for applicants where the young people from the different organizational background coming either from an initiative, working on the social level, an NGO, company, whatever it is, but just being a bit active or belonging to a certain community, they can all apply. And then we have this, every year we have an open slot for 20 to 30 people who can enter, because then we can actually track their learning journey and be able to accompany them as they are moving with their journey with dialogue. So this is the number of people coming in every year. It's an open call and people can apply from all over Egypt. And we have also the selection process based on an interactive interview where they can actually sit and talk about themselves, but at the same time also attend a dialogue workshop and try to facilitate different activities. So this is where the young people are coming from. And the reason why I mention young people a lot is that when people join, this call for applicants is for people aging from 18 to 30. And then we have people don't need to leave after a year or two. They can just stay and be ambassadors for dialogue as long as the program is operating, and even if the program closes down, because this is something you carry with you. So the age limit is just for entering the project, and also because we have a the population in the different Arab countries, a young population. So we have the youth constituting up to 60% of the population in Egypt, for instance. So it's like a huge composition of the population. And then who are the people coming into the sessions that are organized by the Ambassadors for Dialogue themselves? It could be members of a certain community. Doesn't necessarily, we held workshops in houses in a certain village, for instance, where this community sees it beneficial, or they wanted us to facilitate a certain dialogue between the members of this community. It could be in a company. This company needs dialogue. They have a lot of conflict among the different levels of management, and they need that. It could be NGOs who are working on certain issues, gender-based violence, sexual and reproductive health, also doing campaigns on drug control or any other topic. We just say that we're experts on the methodology, we know what dialogue is, and we have the dialogue facilitators, dialogue ambassadors. So how can we help? We also search for the areas where dialogue is not necessarily used and try to find a room for it there and create this opening, be it intergenerational dialogue, for instance, dialogue on different issues relating to interreligious dialogue. So we try to scan also where is it not that open, and try to create this opening, while at the same time receiving requests from different communities and groups and NGOs and companies on their need. So it's both ways. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, Ziad, did you want to ask your question or answer the question?
No, ask a question actually.
Okay, sure.
To Rana, I mentioned several times that it's a methodology. So it's a methodology for dialogue, and I'm assuming by that you're not trying to influence the beliefs or the convictions of these young people. I mean, and I can sort of understand that why you do that. However, I mean, as I myself have been involved with a lot of training and capacity building for young people, especially in underprivileged areas where they're exposed and they are very much brainwashed. I don't want to say, well, yeah, brainwashed by their local context and their local social norms and whatever. I found that it's very hard to break out of this and develop their own thinking and therefore be able to sort of reach out and influence others. Now, is the intention to influence others? Do you at all attempt to sort of like help them develop their own thinking first? Or is it just purely a methodology that is like a facilitation? Because I know you mentioned in your presentation that the first part of this is dialogue with them. I think that is super important, super helpful when somebody first tries to understand himself and their own issues they're struggling with, and be able to produce their own independent thinking, independent of enormous pressures that there's on them. But do you get into these things, or is it really just a methodology for dialogue? I know that these people, for example, training somebody on civic education, and I would like them to become a trainer eventually to other people, I really need to not only teach them the methodology, but also make sure that they're bringing values that I don't subscribe, not I, but the program subscribe to, and that is tainted by their own upbringing or culture or religion, whatever it is. It's really hard to differentiate between the two. I'll go about, sorry, a long question.
No, I totally understand it, and I totally get it, because we also get that a lot. I think the first thing we do is make sure that we are free of the prejudice itself. We are walking the talk. So we are not trying to influence people, get rid of their ideas and beliefs and so on. We're there with the methodology to help ourselves and whoever is in the room to be able to self-reflect, understand, why am I believing in this way? And what is it based on? Where is it coming from? Why am I thinking this way? And why am I adopting these opinions and beliefs? And why am I having this behavior? What is it based on? Is it coming from a certain value? Is it coming from my upbringing? Is it coming from, where is it coming from? And then also understand, do I want to change it? Is it causing me challenges or not? If it's causing me challenges, do I want to change it? So where do I want to make the change? If I don't want to change it, then the question is, so how do I deal with people who are different than me? So it's a series of, it's also it's a philosophy in the way, a methodology of training in itself that allows the space for people to be themselves. And I think this is key. So if you are able to be yourself, to see yourself the way you are, and find out where is this coming from, and decide if this is who I am, and this is what I am, and this is how I will continue in life, then the other question is, how do I deal with people who are different than me? So it's also, I hope I answered the question, but it's just giving a bit about how we work. And I think it's key for us, whoever is responsible for this learning space, to be in check with themselves all the time. Because we had some difficult times where there was polarization happening in the country between who believes in this and who believes in this, whether it's religion, whether it's political, whatever it is. This challenge, what we had to make sure of is that our space can hold dialogue about these difficult issues, can hold this diversity of people believing in different things and actually being from the different poles who are fighting on the streets. So we needed to always keep ourselves in check, and to make sure that the people who are coming in with their beliefs know and understand where is it coming from and what do they want to do with it.
Sandra, I know you had two questions, one for each of the panelists. You can shoot with one of them, like.
Rana, do you feel absolutely free to form your dialogue group? Did you encounter any kind of objections or from the local authorities or from others?
Yes, we are also having this question a lot. Until now, no. And I think until now, no, because it's a very diverse group, so we cannot be labeled one thing. So they cannot just say no because you work with this. No, we work with everyone and anyone. So we work with the government, we work with the anti-government, we work on all levels. We work in villages as long as we're working also in other privileged areas. So we work everywhere. And I think that's what keeping us actually working till the moment. And I think this is also the fingerprint or the print of the project, that we are taking diversity to, we're trying to take it to the bones, I guess. And that's why until now, we haven't had challenges. Of course, there are times where all activities, for instance, are cancelled for everyone because there is an election or there is something coming up. But for the project itself and deciding on who's being accepted or not, or where to hold the dialogue workshops, until now, no. And I think I would say it's because of the fact that we're not selective in terms of who do we work with.
Yeah, thank you. And our group, our small group has a question for Ziad. Does the self-confidence that the women get from their work spill over to other areas of their life?
All these women are, maybe contrary to certain stereotypes, are not very weak. I mean, they are strong women who, I guess, based on because of the hardships they have to go through and the continuous struggle for survival, are really strong. I mean, they're not like these women who are overpowered. You know, they might look a certain way that might be perceived as weak, but but they're not. They're not weak. What's to them for sure?
It was not our thought, by the way. We didn't think of them as weak.
No. I know it was.
Okay.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that for sure, this confidence within their immediate family grows because they've become part of the money earning for the family. So that automatically gives them a bigger sense of self-worth within their immediate family. So that already exists, right? Because they're supporting their family, they're supporting their husbands. That does give them self-confidence. What I don't know, but what I suspect as a new board member and what we're into is how to make that self-confidence exactly become impact a larger sphere than just the immediate family. So that's why we would like them to be of the value of what they're doing beyond just the economic value.
Yeah.
Like this preservation, the history, the heritage, the beauty of what they're doing. And once they're reminiscent of that, they understand that this piece that they're stitching in their little alley in this really horrible refugee camp ends up in a beautiful museum in or whatever it is. This gives them a much broader sense of self-esteem that we hope will of influence than just on the immediate family, which I suspect is currently the case.
Ah, great. Thank you very much.
One of the questions we were talking about was about the young people, and this is, I mean, directly relevant to maybe a lot of people, certainly to me, is how when you put young people in these situations, and obviously these are complex facilitation techniques that could take a lifetime, a career's worth of learning. What are your reflections, Rana, on how they respond? Obviously, I mean, I'm sure there are many good things, but I'd also be interested in, from my own personal learning, where do they struggle? Where are the bits that the young people actually find more challenging? And are there ways that you've kind of learned to support that?
Yes, it's such a long learning process for us. Also, where we started is definitely not where we are at the moment. We learned a lot through the journey, and we change and alter our ways and try to work on ourselves a lot throughout the different years. I think the most challenging part is the dialogue with the self, because a lot of people can go on in life without reflecting on what they are doing in life at all, and thinking that it's just logical. So it's just stopping and actually creating these spaces that are heavily facilitating to help people understand why are they doing what they're doing and where is it coming from is not necessarily easy. It's extremely challenging. And it's also challenging because not all the people in the room have similar experiences. So you would have someone who's finding it very difficult to actually reflect on their themselves and what they do. And then others in the room who are doing it quite often, so it's very easy for them. So you could have someone having a breakdown in a room while others want to move forward. So it's not easy. But also that's why we try to work on having this group feeling that we're in the same place together and we're helping each other and we're moving with a pace that is also okay for everyone. But also this reflects that after receiving this first training, not everyone is ready to go on and facilitate. So how do we handle that? So that's why we don't consider it like a one-time training that they receive. It's a journey. And then where the people who are responsible for this learning space are aware of who's where from the trainings and from observing their work as well. So we hold these one-on-one sessions all the time with them to identify where they are and agree with them on also a learning like steps that they need to do and trainings that we need to provide. So we try to tailor a training plan for individuals and also keep these spaces that are open for everyone to join. And there we try to just make it also inclusive as much as possible. I know I made it a bit more complex in my answer, but the most challenging thing is the dialogue with the self, because it results in so many different things at the same time and not everyone is the same. And it's heavy work on us that we need to tailor based on this training specifically. We need to tailor a learning journey for each individual separately later on. Yeah. So
yes, thank you. Yeah, no, that's really good. And wouldn't it be good if the schools had done some of that work already when those 18-year-olds come to you?
Yeah.